The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, has said it's expanding its Sudan aid plan to two new countries, Libya and Uganda, after tens of thousands of refugees arrived in both countries in recent months. The war in Sudan that broke out in April last year between the Sudanese military and the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, has affected millions of people, forced more than 10 million to flee their homes, many of them ending up in other countries. So, to get a fuller picture of the situation in Uganda, we can speak to Matthew Crentsil, the UNHCR representative in the capital, Kampala. Welcome to the programme. Sudan and Uganda don't share a direct border, so what sort of journeys are people making to get to Uganda from Sudan?
Hello, good morning. Yes, Sudanese refugees, go through South Sudan on a very arduous journey through South Sudan before they get to a northern part of Uganda. By the time they get to Uganda, they are really, really exhausted, having gone through a lot in South Sudan.
Yeah, absolutely. So what sort of welcome is waiting for them there?
Yeah, once they are able to make it into Uganda, they are supported by UNHCR and the government and transported mainly to a northern part of Kampala to a settlement called, in the Kiriandongo district, where they are registered and provided assistance, including food, shelter, and some basic services. But many of the refugees also come through Entebbe, come through by air through Entebbe, and they are also hosted in Kampala. This year alone, we've had about 27,000 Sudanese entering into Uganda, making it a total of nearly 39,000 refugees who have come to Uganda since the war began in Sudan. Prior to this, there were about 3,700 Sudanese living in Uganda already. And about a quarter of all Sudanese refugees reside in Kampala.
Okay. Uganda has taken in huge numbers of people from South Sudan, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, elsewhere. It's known as a place that is very hospitable for refugees. And yet at the same time, all around the region right now, people helping refugees are complaining about a lack of funds, that there isn't necessarily the sufficient resources to help everybody. What is the situation in terms of these new Sudanese arrivals?
Yes, this is a major concern because even before the arrival of the Sudanese refugees, funding for the refugee program in Uganda has been dwindling. For instance, last year, out of a total requirement of 846 million for the Uganda country refugee response plan, only about 294.5 million was received. That's about 35% of the requirements. This year, of total requirements of about 858 million, only 13%, amounting to about 111 million, has been received. So the situation is very, very dire.
So if the money is short, what sort of difficult choices are you having to make then?
Yeah, we are having to cut back on the provision of basic services to refugees and the host communities as well. This year alone, we've had to lay off about over 700 healthcare workers, as a result of a shortage in funding. That is why we are very much interested in having Sudan or Uganda included in the response plan for Sudanese refugees because they have come in trickles last year, but the number is going up. Like I told you, we have nearly 39,000 of them coming into the country. So with a refugee program which was already severely underfunded, it's proving very, very difficult to provide adequate assistance to even the new arrivals, including the Sudanese.
Matthew Crentsil, UNHCR representative in Uganda. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Newsday on the BBC World Service. We've had a reaction in from Kampala, actually, from Okumu Alex, who says the decision by the UNHCR to expand refugee support to Sudanese and Uganda is timely, should even have been done earlier, because the truth is there are very many refugees in Uganda now. Uganda is hospitable to refugees, but also financially struggling, so that support is very welcome.